The mobilization of forced labor by Imperial Japan is a part of Korean history that must not be forgotten. Koreans live with a painful history where many young men and women were forcibly removed from their families without knowing why. The Japanese mobilization of Koreans into forced labor began during the Asia-Pacific War in 1938, when people were taken to mines, construction sites, factories, battlefields, and comfort stations against their will. They were regularly injured, killed, and subjected to racial discrimination. This trauma lingers to this day, and we cannot let this painful past fade from memory. The Korean Foundation for Victims of Forced Mobilization by Imperial Japan works to heal the wounds caused by this painful history through critical reflection and education. Having instigated the Asia-Pacific War, the Japanese government has not yet apologized and expressed sincere remorse for its crimes, even though nearly 7 decades have passed since its defeat. Taking on the responsibilities of the Committee on Investigation of Forced Japanese Mobilization and Support for Victims of Forced Overseas Mobilization, an inquiry into crimes and injuries caused by forced mobilization was conducted in June 2014, in addition to the establishment of various support programs. The Korean Foundation for Victims of Forced Mobilization by Imperial Japan was founded to help heal and provide necessary support to the victims of forced mobilization and their families. The foundation is currently engaged in cultural, academic, investigative, and research projects related to welfare support, memorial events, and exhuming the remains of victims of forced mobilization. To ease the suffering of victims, several substantive and transparent support projects and activities are being conducted. The Foundation is committed to addressing various grievances related to the forced mobilization and is working to help unite the Korean people, raise awareness about the lasting, historical significance of these painful events, and contribute to peace and human rights. The Foundation hosts a national memorial ceremony to remember those who have perished during the forced mobilization and emphasize the national and historical significance of these events. Since 2016, the ceremony has been held annually in Busan. The ceremony brings families of victims and the Korean people together in one place, allowing them to mourn and remember the pain of this shared history. The memorial ceremony strengthens the bond between the families of victims and promotes awareness about the forced mobilization under Japanese occupation among the public. The Foundation also hosts overseas pilgrimages twice every year for families of forced mobilization victims who died homesick and exiled in a faraway land. These pilgrimages take place in the Marshall Islands, Southeast Asian countries such as Taiwan, Myanmar, and the Philippines, as well as in China and parts of Japan such as Okinawa and Hokkaido. Participants of these pilgrimages have an opportunity to mourn the victims and reflect on the painful history as they visit these far-flung sites of forced mobilization. The Foundation works to locate and repatriate the remains of those who died during the forced mobilization under Imperial Japan. 74 victims of the forced mobilization who were interred in Tokokuji, Osaka, were returned in 2019. Beginning with them, the foundation is now working to bring back those who were sacrificed in Hainan Island, Siberia, South Sea Islands, and Japan to ease the suffering of their families. The foundation initiates cultural and academic programs to educate future generations on the historical facts of the forced mobilization. The foundation holds international academic conferences and conducts research about forced mobilization by Imperial Japan to reveal the truth about these atrocities. Through an annual academic conference held since 2015, the foundation has invited multiple researchers, family members of victims, and citizens to discuss various issues associated with the forced mobilization under Imperial Japan and to find solutions to move forward. Research projects are also being conducted to study the remains located at a temple in Sapporo, Japan, as well as to find information about those who were forced to go to Okinawa. These cultural and academic programs will help the foundation illuminate the facts about the forced mobilization by Imperial Japan and provide an academic basis for establishing related policies. In addition, various support projects for victims' families, social welfare initiatives, and memorial monument proposals are aimed at helping bereaved family members cope with their pain and heal as much as possible. The foundation established the National Museum of Forced Mobilization by Imperial Japan to remember and raise awareness about Korea's painful history. The Memorial Museum collects, preserves, and exhibits materials about the forced mobilization and also offers educational spaces open to the public. Ongoing efforts are being made to design additional educational programs that remind visitors of the suffering experienced by those who were forcibly mobilized. There are also plans to construct a shrine and a memorial park inside the Memorial Museum to honor the spirit of the forced mobilization victims. The ultimate goal of the Korean Foundation for Victims of Forced Mobilization by Imperial Japan is to remember this painful history while helping forced mobilization victims and their families find healing and prosperity. By never forgetting the pain of this history of forced mobilization, the Foundation will do its best to build upon the sacrifice and work towards peace.